Hey guys, so I'm going to get ready to go on my workout. And normally, if I'm gonna do like a soul flow or anything like that, I try to do it when I come back after I've had time to process thoughts with the Most High. However, in this case, um, I want to touch base on something before I go and then see how I feel after the flow and then decide if I want to do a recap. So, yakety yak, we gonna talk about that. So I've been going through this workplace ethics issues. I mean, after I got off the call today with someone from the corporate division, they were explaining to me that there's two sections. There's the ethics, and then there's employee behavior or something like that. Don't quote me on the terms because I have it wrong, I'm sure. So as I'm going through the process, and I just have to say, not having an employee advocacy program put in place in every single workspace makes it difficult to enforce ADA protections for people with any types of disabilities, physical, mental, whatever it is, right? And what's frustrating is that when you go through your healing journey, right, and you have to look at all those things, not just the shit that happened to you, right? Like there's a victim space in the timeline, but then there's that space of different levels of an age of accountability or awareness. And usually it's when the awareness hits, that's when the accountability clock starts to tick, in my opinion. And so, and that's different for every single trauma, because you can have multiple traumas in one lifetime. And so it could be that you come to an age of awareness with one level of the trauma, because there's layers to this shit. And then then that clock for accountability of, okay, this wasn't my fault, this wasn't okay, but now how do I fix it? That starts to tick. Unless you're wearing a Rolex, and those don't really tick. If you have a real Roly, it doesn't tick. So I say that because my cousin got one. Well, my family, my aunt and my cousins, they all got one. And I remember my favorite one was the oyster one. The oyster, it was something, oyster something. But it was my favorite because it was the smoothest, cleanest design. And then there was this dude that I knew, and he used to always floss like these high brand watches. And one time he came through with a Rolex, and I had just learned the ins and outs of the Rolex because my family had gotten them. I didn't get one. Okay, let's just be clear. I was not included in that part of the family benefits of whatever, even though I'm just like a daughter. And it's okay, honestly, because how I grew up and where I would flow through, I mean, you can't wear that type of stuff anyways, because then you put a target on your back and like they'll take your whole arm just for the watch. So in different places, I mean, it was the environment. The struggle was real. So anyways, he was flashing the watch and he was talking about the TikTok, and and I was like, oh, it's not real. And I didn't mean to say it in a moment where it called him out. I generally didn't know if he didn't know that that wasn't real. And I remember he was like really, really fired up and telling me I was a liar and this and that. And then later I found out he was in the streets talking mad shit about me. And I was just, and he was talking about me being a hoe because I called out his fake Rolly. And I was like, wait, the punishment doesn't match the crime because I didn't buy your fake Rolly. I was looking out for you because I didn't know if you knew. So, anyways, that makes me think of this work situation. part of it is employees kept telling me coaches were checking out my butt. And it was always after I would request something, like to be moved to a different department because of workplace bullying and retaliation and harassment that was going on, or tools that I needed, a scanner. And anytime I would actually get these things, after I'd have to push for them, by the way, it was nothing that they just handed me. I had to like justify why I needed these things. But then after each time it would happen, they would say, oh, we saw that coach checking out your ass, or yada, yada, yada. And that offended me, not because I don't, like I'm offended if guys are looking at me. That's a natural human instinct. However, what offended me was they didn't worry about compromising my integrity where I worked. Which means, as a woman, it will then place me in a line of position where any raise, any promotion, anything I received, someone can file an ethics report later on me and say that I shouldn't receive it because I'm having an inappropriate relationship with management and that I get favoritism. And I saw a team lead doing that to a younger worker over on the grocery side, and I mentioned it because she may not understand that, but I understand it as a grown-ass woman. So I think as women, we find ourselves constantly having to fight to protect and secure the crowns that we were born with. So as I was going through, because now we're in this phase where it has to be like detailed, and I always hate these phases because also the way I grew up is that even if you tell and you are the victim in a situation, you're labeled as a snitch, you're labeled as a rat, and there's a lot of things that come with that. And when I was talking about it at the store level, they were putting pork bombs in my workstation. So now I'm doing it at a corporate level in hopes of finding a peaceful resolution, because I just want to be made whole again. I don't want my integrity to be damaged after I've worked so hard to recover from abuse, trauma, sexual assault, domestic violence, financial abuse, spiritual abuse. And as I became aware and I came out of those victim phases, and I started realizing sorry, I was waiting for Chico, stop! There's people outside. And Chico's a dog. He's a guy dog. He doesn't want me to say my shit. Okay, stop. I can't let him out of the cage. Aaliyah says they're not allowed to come out because she's training them to. So I'm trying to obey her orders. Plus, it's better for them because. Okay. Because eventually she's going to be completely on her own, like living on her own, and they've got to be adjusted. It's this whole thing, because I would probably enable the situation and let them out so that they wouldn't bark, and then it's not doing. So I've been instructed to stop doing that because I'm interfering with her parenting, and I don't want to do that. Oh, they're moving stuff. So my neighbor's moving from one apartment to the next. Okay, so hold on. Let me get back to my thought. So when you go through these phases where you recognize, okay, yes, this was wrong, I was the victim, and then you reach this, okay, but as a result of it, I now have to heal myself, because the people that broke you are not going to heal you, because that means they have to take accountability for the shit they put you through. And then on top of that, I had to also then look at myself and be like, how have I now been a dick to others because someone was a dick to me? Because that whole hurt people. And it's like, and you go through a phase where you become that hurt person that eventually hurts somebody, right? To some degree. And so it's like this whole grief, acceptance of even being a victim, a survivor, and at some point the one that's, got this hard outer shell to protect what's left of my heart or what's of me. And now it's like it's making it difficult for anyone else to get close to me, right? Or to grow with me, because now I just don't trust anybody in the frequency. So that's a lot of accountability on top of grief and on top of forgiveness and all these other things, right? And so I got off that call, and because it's going to take a couple of calls. So they have to call back, and we have to continue the whole, we'll call it deposition, because that's what it feels like. But anyways, and I'm just baffled with how complicated the process has to be for people who have to speak up. It's almost like systematically corporate wise. And this is why in the past, when I was growing up younger, in the same workforce system as a young girl who had children and, who wasn't healed from trauma and who just didn't know she had a voice and didn't have the ability to stand up for herself. This is why I backed out of pursuing these types of situations when I was younger, because I was always in over my head, and it always felt like the system and stuff was stacked up against you, and they want you to give them all the details and time frames and all this other stuff, because they want you to do the investigative work so that they can clean it up and get rid of it and act like it didn't exist, and then exhaust you in the meantime, and then you run out of time to file like the charges with the EEOC or get a lawyer or whatever it is, right? My thing is, I just want to be whole again. I mean, I'm working really hard on my mental health and my therapy and everything that I'm going through. And to be re-traumatized when you go into situations and you're being fully transparent and you're being completely honest, it's like assaulting, raping, molesting, whatever, a person over and over again. So I felt really frustrated that I find myself defending what I'm wearing after having it approved at work, and I have to defend myself of what I'm wearing after it was approved, and I'm not the only one, because a coach stepped out of line and he got caught by another employee violating me visually on the workspace and compromising my integrity and my ability, futuristically speaking, to grow, get promotions and raises based on the fact that because they listed him as my direct point of who I answer to after that situation happened. And that was my final breaking point. So it's affected my money. It's affected my relationship with my daughter, because I'm trying to build trust with her that I'm not going to fall mentally again. So I guess relapse with mental illness again, or the side effects of it. And when people play with you on the outside, it tests your healing, your integrity, and your truth. And then it's like, see, you're not a victim, you're the problem. And that's exactly like my daughter was just like, because I speak up and I speak out, then I'm labeled as the problem. And she doesn't care about the problem. She's angry because it affected the income. And I get it. I made a deal with her. I would help in this process. But I tell you, it's like you don't get time to heal and not have to worry about bills. Like, and that sucks, because they put you through this shit. They exploit you. They make money off of you. They benefit from you. But then nobody's there to help you justify the time that you need to heal without having to report to work every day. So I'm just like in my head over this morning, and I'm like, but I feel good because I still have a good heart, and I'm still interested in helping empower other queens and share my healing journey, because maybe if I don't save myself, maybe I can just help plant seeds in somebody else, and it can be like a life raft in case their ship goes down. They have a floaty. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna go. But I'm gonna work out, and then I'll decide if I'm gonna do a recap for this. But I just wanted to share that. So, okay.